Welcome to the patio. Thursday, we're going to talk about Amendment number 2. What's Amendment number 2?
Right to bear arms.
We're going to tell you a little bit about some things in the news, and we got a big surprise for you. Stick around to the end. We're going to tell you what we're going to be doing on election night next Tuesday. I think you guys will want to tune in. So, DW, when you hear the term Second Amendment, what does that mean to you?
Like Jamie said, it's the right to bear arms. It's the right to arm yourself, defend your family, defend yourself. And I really think it's one of the reasons in America why we haven't had a war on our soil outside of us fighting each other.
I thought it was the right for every bear to have arms.
So, like, you mean Pablo Escobar?
Yeah, he had arms.
I hope that guy had some arms.
Pablo Escobar needed a gun. He could have defended all that cocaine when he had to try to snort it all at one time. That's right.
He had some pretty big arms.
He had some big arms. Now, Fortenberry, I expect something good from you.
Right to bear arms to me is, as Donnie said, defend yourself, defend your family, defend your home. Also, to give you the ability to overthrow the government. No, it's there for it's there to overthrow a tyrannical government.
It says it.
When we left the Revolutionary War, we left a tyrannical government, and our founders put in place the ability to not have that happen to us again.
Okay, so the Second Amendment, it's very short.
They really did. I mean, honestly, what the founding people of this country did was treason against another country.
It's 100% treason.
And fortunately,
so let's read the words.
Our country was founded on war.
Fortunately for them and for us, we won. Yep. They won.
So let's read this short sentence here. I mean, you guys kind of hit on it, but this is the exact wording. The Second Amendment right to bear arms, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. That goes to what you guys just said. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Because what happens if we no longer have arms?
The government oversteps. It's been proven time and time and time again.
They're habitual line steppers.
Yeah, but we're not like
Jamie.
Currently, no one is got their weapons out going to battle against the United States.
So think about places that have ended up in dictatorships. What's one of the very first things they do?
Unarm the population.
Australia unarmed the population. They're not dictatorship.
Isn't that what Hitler
did? Didn't they put them in a COVID camp?
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't know.
How many German guns were burned?
I mean, that is the number one step for any dictators to remove the firearms from the people.
Do you think Canada is a dictatorship? You know, they've taken arms.
They are marching that way. So anybody that listens to Louder with Crowder today, they had a guest on who was a mortician, and he was discussing the COVID and the vaccine, and the great point he made. He's from UK. He said a great point. I want
to get into that more detail before we're done tonight. So.
The great point he made. He said you will not see Americans being forced to take a COVID vaccine as long as they have AR-15s, and that's 100% true.
They tried.
They tried
to take our livelihood from
them. They did. Even my job that I had, they tried to force me to take it, and me and a couple other employees said no.
Speaking of which, let's congratulate Gary. He has officially quit his job and done full-time podcast.
He's full-time
dedicated to this.
He is a full-time podcast monkey.
Please listen to us.
Rip Gary's family and groceries.
just so you know, we've made not $1 yet.
No, we spent money.
We spent money.
That's how much faith I have in us.
Yeah,
I love it.
You're always that positive guy.
I am that positive.
We're going to stroke Gary tonight, guys. Yeah. We're going to stroke Gary. But look, back to the Second Amendment. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it because it's short. But anytime there's something related to a firearm, whether it be what happened in Uvalde, whether a school shooting, some idiot sitting on top of a hotel in Las Vegas, the first thing certain people want to do is use that as a call to arms to take your arms.
You're going to facepalm when I say this. I ain't so sure I believe everything about the Las Vegas shooting.
Well, it's funny that details don't come out. We know the guy had a gun. That's all we know.
We know somebody had a gun
and shot a lot of people. But any of those events, including January 6th, which people had guns, but the only people that fired at someone was, a police officer and shot a woman, I think.
An unarmed woman, yes.
An unarmed woman. You know, if Paul Pelosi had a gun, he might not get hit in the head with a hammer. And the hammer toss, great hammer toss episode,
but it wasn't his head.
Yeah, so that's a whole its own thing.
So, like active shooter type situations, if you study like active shooter mass killings, all those kind of things, somebody with a weapon comes in and kills multiple people because for whatever reason, right? So most people, when they think of that, what do they think about? They think about, what is it, Parkland? Is it Parkland?
Yeah, Parkland and Florida.
They think about Columbine. They think about all these different things. You know, one of
the Jonesboro West
West Side. That's one of the first. Yeah. I think
so,
that's the second one.
Yeah.
Actually.
So one of the first things that fit that profile is actually a group of Indians coming into American type schoolhouse and killing a bunch of kids. They didn't have guns. They had blown arrows.
Plymouth Rock.
Bottom line, man, if you want to kill people and you're that type of person to do that type of thing, you're going to do it.
And y'all, when I somebody's up in arms over AR-15s, if you want to take a group of people in a confined space and do the most damage, you go with a shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
You could clear a room out with a couple pumps of a shotgun, way more effective. And yet nobody is up in arms over shotguns. They're up in arms over AR-15s.
It's the scary AR-15.
Yeah.
It's a military weapon.
The AR-15 is a more lethal weapon, just by round count and all that. I don't understand what you're saying.
Which one is outlawed by the Geneva Convention?
It doesn't matter. We're talking about lethality.
Well, one of them's outlawed by the Geneva Convention. One's not.
I guarantee you give me a AR-15, and you take you with a shotgun, and we have targets all over the place. I guarantee I'll take more than you.
Yeah, but though each weapon's made for something different.
It is.
They are.
Yeah. Like
that's also the AR-15 is not made for going to a classroom.
It's made for lots of different things, but primarily combat.
Let's think about fishing a barrel. You know,
it is made. It is made for going into a classroom. It is made for close quarters. But think about every police force in America. What do they use in close quarters? Very few guys are rolling shotguns. Shotguns are mainly breaching tools. It's an AR-15.
And you know way more than I do.
And there's a reason and a purpose.
I do know.
Well, but isn't the AR-15 more accurate so that you could pick out your target more?
Correct.
So that,
it is more accurate, but we're talking about, you got things to consider like reload time. There's tons of stuff. Yes, maybe you'll get spread, but the lethality of that spread is going to be different than a single bullet, right? Or a slug out of a shotgun. The AR-15 is more of a... And I'm not against it. I think you should be able to own the quadruple barrel AR-15 with an fully automatic trigger if you want to.
Like Jamie said, we should own a cannon.
That shoots fire.
I said tanks.
Tanks. Okay, we can own a tank.
One neighbor.
I think it should be able to shoot fire and beer cans.
That sounds like fun.
Now, if you got one that shoots beer cans, I am in.
I think if you can afford an army tank, you should be able to have an army tank.
Yes.
Okay, so right to bear arms, I think we actually all agree that people should be allowed to bear arms. But where does it stop?
It doesn't stop.
It does.
Okay, but what about a silencer?
What about it?
Why you need a silencer?
What if you have a hearing problem?
Why don't you need a silencer?
Then you really don't need a silencer.
Well, no, what if you don't want hearing problems?
So
you wear earmuffs
or have a silencer.
So does a silencer allow you to kill more people in an active shooter?
How does it do it? How?
Have you ever heard it? Have you ever heard
they can't pick it up.
Have you ever actually yourself?
It's silence. I can't hear it.
Have you actually stood and listened as somebody shoots a silence weapon? Okay, there's my point. It's not quite like the movies. There's no pew pew pew. It makes a freaking audible sound, right? Now, are most people going to be able to distinguish the two? Probably not. It's a little quieter, but it doesn't drop the decibel rate to nothing. It's still a gunshot, and it still sounds
actually
like a gunshot.
Actually, the more effective part of I hate saying silence. I'd rather say I'm blank.
Well, most people that are going to do that kind of thing aren't smart enough to shoot the right round out to make it quieter anyway.
Well, you know where I was going with this. So I have a 300 Blackout. It's designed to use with a suppressor. Suppressor, that's what I'm looking for.
That's the word.
Yeah.
You need to shoot a high velocity round.
No, I thought it was a low velocity. Use a subsonic round.
Subsonic.
Use a subsonic round on a 300 Blackout with a suppressor, and it creates.
Yeah, so subsonic creates less, right?
Yes, but people aren't doing that. But I mean, that's
you can barely find rounds, or can you now? Can you buy a round now?
Right now, I'd have to beat you to death with my rifle because I can afford to shoot it.
So that's what our government's trying to do. That's why the election's so important. because we have one group of people. We won't even talk right or left. We won't talk. Everyone knows who this is. We have one group of people who every chance want to bring forward to take your guns away from
Damn Republicans.
those damn Republicans. Then we have another group of people who want to protect that right because they know that prevents tyranny.
Tyranny.
Yeah, tyranny.
All right, what else y'all got to say about the Second Amendment?
I love it. Need more of it.
I got a question for you. What's Third Amendment? Do you know what Third Amendment is?
I don't. We'll find out next week, though, won't we?
The right
We
to
will.
octopus arms,
Octopus arm.
so that you can
know-
carry more guns.
You know, when I said it, I don't know what the Third Amendment is.
Nope.
Everyone knows their First Amendment, their Second Amendment.
I know
Probably
the
remember
fifth.
what the 20th.
I know the 14th.
And the 20th had to do with letting women vote or something like that, I think. Maybe.
Right,
The
yeah,
14th
we went south from
abolished
there.
slavery.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
really dumb now that I said the
Yeah,
faster
exactly.
bullet when
So
I meant.
look, next
I
week
know
I
you
meant
join us,
subsonic.
I know what you meant.
and we're going to talk about the Third Amendment and Amendment number 3
Give us a sneak peek. What is 3? Just
has to do with soldiers.
oh, I know what it is.
Oh,
I do
go
know
look
what
it up and be ready to talk about it. We'd love for you to leave some comments down below. Look, guys, December, we're going live YouTube. Every episode is going to be, well, maybe not live on YouTube, but we're going to be posting YouTube videos. That's our goal. First part of December. We will finish 90 days of YouTube, podcasting.
Or is it 60 days?
Now it's 60, but by December,
Oh,
it'll
yes,
be
by
90.
December it'll be 90, yes.
We're on episode 21. Oh, we hit a 20 milestone the other day. So hopefully by then we'll be about 2,500. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the Third Amendment to the United States Constitution, and really, that's probably one no one talks about much. But we're going to talk about why it's important and why it's there.
I got
Well-
a question for y'all. Second Amendment.
Go.
All right, so you have the right to bear arms. It's in the Constitution, right? So we take felons' right to bear arms away. Is it constitutional?
No.
That's interesting.
I think they should have their right reinstated after they serve their sentence.
Because they've paid their
They paid their debt to
dues.
society.
What if they're what if they've actually committed a serious crime with a weapon?
That they should be getting out anyway, so I don't worry about it.
I agree.
I mean, that's the one way we can eliminate gun laws is make them tougher.
I think so. I think it's okay to restrict it while they're now. If you're a felon, you were supposed to serve 20 years.
Sir?
You serve 10 years, then you still have 10 years. Like
Yes.
you're on paper for 10 more.
Yeah, well, first of all, you should be on parole. The whole time you're on probation, you're still serving your sentence.
You're
You
still
should,
serving your sentence. Shouldn't build on.
and they should also get the right to vote back.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
too.
once you serve your
once
sentence,
you're done, right?
I saw this actually happened. A guy died, was in prison, like not from lecture, just died. They brought him back. He argued his life sentence was over.
Saw that.
I mean, hell, I can't argue with him.
If he died,
That's a pretty solid. You got the right lawyer. You can probably win
You
that.
ain't lying.
he died.
Note to self: if I go to prison, go stick a fork in the electrical socket or something.
Isn't there some? Now I don't know this to be truth. I'm spitballing here, but isn't there
I
something
recall
where
somewhere.
if you die during an execution and you actually come back? So
I've
if
heard
they
that, too.
fry you, you die. They pronounce you dead. You come back.
I've heard that too.
You
because
get released. right?
They put you to death.
I mean, that's basically what this guy did. He ate things that allowed him. He knew the poison he was going to be given to allow him to become almost immune to the poison. He survived. So, look, we just talked about Second Amendment rights
Pretty slick.
and why it's important to protect most of your other rights, right? But let's talk a minute. I want to circle back to what we talked about last week, First Amendment rights. Now, I have a reason for that because earlier this week, Jamie and I, there's a YouTube guy we listen to, Steven Crowder. He's very right wing. He has some conspiracy theories, but he was recently banned from YouTube. Actually, just this week.
yes,
You could argue that he lost his First Amendment right. He's broadcasting on other channels and things, but YouTube being his primary function, and he doesn't understand why. And the reason I bring this up, I think Fortenberry hit on this last week when we were talking about it, that some of these things like YouTube, like Facebook, they're considered platforms. Mm-hmm. And a platform is not held accountable for the content that people put out.
no,
there.
only a publisher is.
Right.
So is YouTube private or public? A private.
They're
it
considered
doesn't
a
matter.
platform, but when you start governing what people say on your platform, does that not make you a publisher?
Okay, so there was a book this has kind of what you're talking about. There was a book written. Oh, this was I think in the 80s, maybe the 70s, and it was how to be a. Hitman. I think that was the name of the book, How to Be a Hitman.
Yeah. I was about to say player.
So,
well, you already know
a guy takes the book, part of it, and does assassination. He goes out, does a hit on somebody. They come back and sue the publisher because they put content on that led to this murder.
And he did it just like he read in the book.
Just like he read the book.
So how did the case turn out?
I think they won, if I remember. The family won.
So there's also a book called, is anybody familiar with The Poor Man's James Bond?
Mm-mm.
It's multiple series of the book. So and then there's another one called The Anarchist Cookbook.
I know.
That's the one I'm
So basically you can learn all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not all like killing people, bombs. Some of it's survival type stuff. It's actually pretty good information. So I studied it when we were doing stuff with the FBI and different bomb classes and stuff like that. And there's some slick stuff in there.
Like I'd invite anybody to sit down and read some of those survivalist books. Because I mean, some of them are good stories, but they actually have really good information.
Is it wrong though to teach that?
It depends on who the student.
Exactly, because it serves a good purpose and a bad purpose.
I think it all goes back to intent.
It does. Well, it goes back to intent comes to play, but then you cannot control who listens to your content or read your content, because most sane people are not going to take that information and use it to commit murder or commit a crime. We talked about Paul Pelosi and the hammer incident from last week. By the time it's made it through the media, it was deemed that he was a fan of all these right-wing individuals.
Yeah. Well, that's media.
Yeah.
Pushing, media. Right? They're pushing
an agenda. But in reality, he was actually quite, they considered him a hippie. He was quite left. But that never came out in the media. Instead, you heard people's names like Glenn Beck or Steven Crowder or those people that this guy had followed on Facebook. So if I ask you a question, do you just follow people you like on Facebook? Because I follow people that I disagree with on Facebook.
I follow both.
Exactly.
I'm going to tell you this. Once again, those that don't know, I do all our TikToking. And
you are the tick of our talk.
Jamie also likes to get hammered.
I think Jamie is the tick to Gary's talk.
There is I can't remember what the discussion was. There was something on TikTok about cultural appropriation.
Yep, probably with them and them.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was about something else. I made the comment on there that
Oh, here we go. He's commenting.
Yeah, the comment I made was basically, ironically, the only real cultural appropriation in America is done by corporations exploiting the LGBT community, Black history, and all this to make money.
Yeah,
they do. And somebody instantly commented, "LGBTQ is not a culture."
What is it?
It's a culture. I think
it's a culture.
I
think it's a community and it's a culture.
Yeah, I mean, the definition of a culture is you have a belief system. Yeah. You have similar, opinions about stuff.
I assumed this was an LGBTQ person.
No, this person hated gays, and they made it real clear. What? They were saying they weren't a culture, and I disagreed. I was saying they were a culture. Yeah, and we went back and forth for a while, and somebody put on there, and it made me feel good because I was defending somebody. I have no part of their group.
Right, but you know what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah. Somebody put on there, I don't know what your gender is, but you are royalty.
You're royalty? Golly.
That's awesome.
They must have listened to our Queen episode.
Pronouns after that.
No, I just left that alone. But yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things you could do is try to look at something from a view that you don't have.
I agree.
Live from the patio are champions of truth.
Truth. Yeah. Truth is
we try to be the champions of truth.
Royalty. We're truth.
Look,
royalty.
We don't claim to know everything by any means, right? We're going to give you our point of view, but we want to know the truth. We want to know the truth, and the truth. Each person can have their idea of a truth.
No.
Yes, you want to know.
There's a truth. There's a truth. There's not your truth. There's
but still, if you believe that that's your truth,
so then you believe incorrect information.
Then convince me that my truth is wrong and yours is right. That's my point.
I think
we want to find the truth.
I think there's one truth and a bunch of different perceptions of the truth.
Here's a secret to life: be a good person, be nice to people, and then be really, really violent when you need to be.
West Fortenberry.
Those are the secrets to life.
What would Grandpa do? What would Grandpa do?
Okay. You've always said Tuesday.
Tuesday,
like it starts with
Tuesday, but Tuesday we're going to
choose how to say it.
So Tuesday, we're going live.
Hey, I support your right to choose.
It makes Charlie. There's two things I say. It makes Charlie so mad when I say a horror movie.
You say horror.
I say horror.
Horror movie.
Exactly.
You put the other horror.
And I say I drunk instead of I drank.
I say, so earlier I drunk.
Yeah, I say I drunk. I just drunk a beer.
Say that too.
It's drank.
Yeah, it's drank.
And Charlie reminds me of that all the time.
Yeah, but you're from
drunk.
Arkansas, so you get away with. I purposely sometimes say things incorrect.
All right, so let's roll back real quick to the First Amendment because I had a question I forgot to ask.
First Amendment?
And I missed it. Yes, the First Amendment. So we're talking about like restricting things on. What were we talking about restricting a while ago? I don't even freaking remember.
Free speech.
Social media.
Who got restricted?
YouTube, Louder with Crowder.
Okay, Louder with Crowder.
And they never told them why.
So Louder with Crowder got restricted. I'm playing devil's advocate here, right? So they restricted Louder with Crowder.
Mm-hmm.
So what if you wanted to go and put porn on YouTube? Is that the same thing? Is that permissible?
No. But that also.
But like they're also restricting you. So my point being, they're a private business, right? So like Walmart, a private company, can refuse your business. They don't have to have a reason. So why can't YouTube, a private company, do the same thing?
Okay, but because hold on,
devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
But why are they not allowed to do the same thing?
So porn is considered.
No, not just porn. Just
Okay,
refusing
but you
service
said porn.
in general.
You said porn, but porn is outside the social norms of any normal, common sense person.
Maybe your social norm, but a lot of people.
No, you can't. No, you can't argue that porn is normal.
It's also legal to show porn to underage people.
There you go.
Correct.
How many?
Right. But the reason.
But there's also kids YouTube, right?
Yeah, but you know what he's getting? So what he's getting banned for? Because he showed Carrie Lake talking about. He doesn't know why the last one's banned, but he's been banned two other times. Once was Carrie Lake. Do you know who Carrie Lake is? I think we touched before. She's running for governor of Arizona. She's an impressive lady.
She used to be a Democrat.
Yeah, she's not anymore. She's actually somewhat conservative. But she spoke about during the her primary that she felt like there was inconsistencies in the voting, and they deemed that as this because whether on Facebook or YouTube.
Here's my question to you guys:
any people? Hold on a second. Any people that argue about the conspiracy of voting may not be real.
We all agree they shouldn't have banned him, right? Every single person here.
Yeah, but your point is
my point is if they are a private company. They can refuse service to anyone they want,
but
without legal.
Terry, you're getting too caught up in this specific case. They can't ban people because by definition they're not allowed to.
Because they're a platform
they're a platform, not a publisher. So if you're a platform.
Yeah, you get restricted a little bit by who you can ban, right? Or who you
No, if you're a platform.
You can ban.
You're basically it's like basically a telephone. Look at Twitter or whatever is the telephone.
So in that case,
and the government can't shut your phone down for you saying something.
So are they a publisher or a platform?
That's the problem.
So if they're a publisher, right, then they can restrict or not.
They can.
They can't. Publishers can.
Okay, so if they're a platform, they shouldn't be able to restrict crap.
That's the problem.
You should be able to put whatever you want.
Right now,
regardless of what it is.
They're restricting.
Is that correct
side.
or not correct?
Exactly. Correct. That's where I was headed. They're not restricting.
If it is a platform, should you not be able to? No. Should you not be able to put anything because it's still controlled by them and their decision?
No, platforms can't. And basically the reason why is because the government decided that the internet is for everyone.
So you should be able to put anything on.
But basically you run into there's two.
Because then how do you control? Say you want to be a morally straight company, how do you control the things that you don't want on there, right? Or if you want to be a left-leaning company, how do you control those things? Shouldn't you have the right to be able to control those things if you're a platform and not a publisher? Should you or should you not?
Freedom of
That's the ultimate question here, right? It does. It becomes very complicated.
Yeah, it's a very complicated.
But the problem that seems to be occurring is. Which is so different than, say, 20 years ago.
Do y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so they're responsible to make sure their content is safe for people to watch, right? But the things that they're filtering is not necessarily things that are. What's the word we used the other day? The untruths, the misinformation. Misinformation is one of the greatest lies ever told.
Propaganda
to the American people. Because you can deem anything misinformation, and the problem is misinformation just means that you don't agree with it.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, it just means I don't agree with it.
Because if it was wrong, you'd call it a lie.
Because I'll
so
assure you, if Gary heard about Hunter Biden's laptop 2 years ago, he wouldn't deem that misinformation. No. But YouTube, Facebook, everyone else did until 1 year ago when there was no election.
And yes, it comes out.
A good example is Elon Musk buying Twitter, and recently he showed that Joe Biden's comments were misinformation.
I love it.
So
he's using their biggest weapon against them.
Where do you go? Is there any control in any of it? It's all weaponized at this point.
Everything's weaponized, yes.
And honestly, probably by Elon Musk buying Twitter, he probably did like Republican candidates a favor.
All right, I'm going to
because they can go and blast on Twitter, right?
Well,
at this point,
But here's the thing that I think is really messed up. You know, they say this is a private company. You can do whatever you want. So if they want to shut down one side, they'll shut down one side. But they also say, well, if you want to talk about this one side, make your own platform. Well, they did. It's called Parler.
But nobody listens to Parler.
No, they
Parler got shut down.
They shut Parler down.
They shut down the servers so they couldn't. Live stream from Parler.
I mean,
so they got shut down.
Is that not all screwed up? So I mean, either you're private in the private sector, you're a publisher, right? So if you're in
what sector you're in doesn't change.
I mean, like, can you refuse business in the private type sector, right? Should you be allowed to?
But now here's the thing.
It depends on why you're.
The internet is a different animal than everything else.
Completely different.
That's viewed by the government because everyone has access to it.
I think I made my point.
No, you're
because there's no
like a good example. A good example. What you're getting at is the guy in Colorado who refused to bake cake for gays.
But
he doesn't have to.
Well. They deemed he had to. Well, but you're right. He should have
that
to.
Too.
Okay,
so they overturn it? Well, good.
You're a concrete guy out pouring concrete, and you say, "Nah, I don't want to pour your driveway for whatever reason. It doesn't matter the reason." Can the people go, "No, you have to pour my driveway"? No, they can't.
Here's the difference, and I think here's the fundamental difference.
It depends if you're a protected class.
Yeah, but so if you're pouring concrete, baking a cake. Okay, if I'm baking a cake, I'm using my artistry. I'm using my labor, my skill, all that.
If you're baking a cake, you're probably using your penis. No, anything to do with that.
For the internet for Facebook to work, none of that's required.
Jamie, would that be a sweet cake?
It'd be a sweet cake.
Maybe sour.
It'd be a shortcake.
Strawberry short.
What do you mean strawberry?
Me.
You win.
All right, you
win. The internet.
You win.
So let's talk about Twitter a little bit, right? Have you guys been seeing some of the headlines about Musk taking over Twitter?
Yes. I've seen a lot of headlines and a lot of videos of people making fun of how the left deemed Twitter prior to Elon Musk, or how they deemed Elon Musk prior to Twitter, and now how they deem Elon Musk.
But this is one of the best ones I've seen. So stories are coming out. So apparently, if you work in Silicon Valley, you are almost like a protected class. You are treated with like royalty. But he's literally now, the expectation is that you work 24/7 because he's ordered his staff to work 84 hours a week or face being fired because he has some goals he's set for them.
84 hours a week is not 24 hours a day.
What the hell were these people doing before Musk came along?
Hold on. So Elon Musk, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got a feeling like if you go in there and you prove yourself, like he's probably going to take care of you.
Dude, I bet.
Yeah, but that's just it.
I'd be all about working at Twitter right now. I'd be like, what you need, Mr. Musk?
Dude, there's a TikTok floating around that was a lady's a day in the life.
I saw this.
A day in the life of
Facebook. She was a product manager for Facebook.
Like they got
probably making who knows what a year.
Oh no, but what she did during the day, she would wake up. And she said, okay, this is me. She went through a day like, this is me waking up. She said, I go to office and I've got to start with the coffee. And it's just, might as well be Starbucks.
Dude,
right?
I was going to say, don't you know they have an awesome
Donnie gets worse. Then she's like, okay, so then I'm going to go to a meeting for a while. Then, lunch prepared by my chef. Then I'm going to go to the room and be cute. Or to the roof. And she goes to
the roof. Yeah, they got a grass roof that has a bar at it.
Yeah, and then afterwards, and then her boyfriend came over and acted like a DJ for her dog. And I'm like, okay, this is the whitest thing I've ever seen in my
You
life.
ain't lying.
No wonder people hate white folks.
Yeah,
okay,
I was thinking, Becky, get off the TV.
yeah, you want to talk about white privilege? If this is not the freaking epitome of white privilege, I don't know what is.
But this is why the whole privilege thing where we struggle at. There is a huge elitist privilege in America that people with privilege or people with elitist privilege can't look at it as they have privilege. They'll go do some.
They see them as doing.
You got a damn good point. It's elitist privilege.
It's
Yes.
elitist privilege. They see them as doing donations.
These
and stuff
kids,
like that.
but this girl's not 30 yet.
Look, color is not the problem.
No,
it's elitism.
not. It's elitism.
It's elitism.
I mean, you can't tell me name a rich and powerful person that's got in trouble that would get the same results as us.
No, it's because social
Pelosi.
classes still exist, but no one recognizes them.
Yeah, no, because everybody's focused on race.
Yeah,
Hunter
but-
Biden.
But it preserves the social class.
Let me just keep. I was saying
run through the
Pelosi.
NFL or NBA or
NBA.
any of the major athletes.
Yeah, any of them.
I mean-
there was a guy. There's been a couple people in the NFL that have killed people
Yes,
in car accidents for some
drinking and driving.
and
hear it.
ended up playing in the NFL again.
Yeah.
All right, I got
My
a
boy
question for you
OJ,
guys.
he wasn't even drinking or driving.
Speaking
he
of
drove
OJ.
for a minute.
I got a question for you. What do the Simpsons, you know who the Simpsons are, Bart and those guys.
OJ.
Not OJ.
OJ.
the
Jack
Simpsons.
Simpson.
We
What
was
do
just
the
talking about it.
Simpsons and about 50% of American households have in common?
Well, they all can't tell the future like the Simpsons.
They all have TVs.
3 children.
They're both part of the middle class.
Okay, makes sense.
So with government assistance and less spending during lockdown, America's middle class was able to save a lot of money, unprecedented amount of money, about $2.5 trillion. I would expect Uncle Joe's trying to come for that money. What do you think?
What are you talking?
He ain't got to. Inflation's already taken.
Hold on. He hired like 800,000 IRS agents.
according
he's
to-
coming for it.
If he's coming on a bicycle, he ain't gonna be able to make it.
According to statistics by Bloomberg, put this out, right? The middle class families reached a record level of wealth of about just under $400,000. That's a lot of wealth. That's not bad for the middle class, right?
So why did the middle class make money during the
Because we had to go to work.
That exactly
yes.
what
I
he
knew we was
just
gonna.
said.
We
'Cause you-
we were what they call us.
You don't
essential.
have so much money that you can't stay off, and you don't have so little that you want the government
But
assistance.
all of us
You
were considered
want-
essential.
Okay, so middle
You
class
want
work.
to keep working.
See, this is great discussion. You're right.
You want to keep
the middle
working,
class.
yes.
We didn't have a freaking choice. I worked every freaking day.
I didn't want
I
to.
didn't miss a day.
Dude, I had a job where we were working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day.
You know what really
This is
sucked?
the reason I told you guys this. Go ahead.
Here's what sucked is when you stayed and you said, look, I'm here, I'm working, all these people are going off work, they're still getting paid, but I'm here. And then a month and a half later, they're collecting like a extra $700 a paycheck.
Yeah.
And you're working for the same thing you were working for before. But I would rather do that than be laid off.
Look, sitting at home.
Because I have control over getting up and going to work, right?
Yes.
It does.
But check out this next stat. The reason I talked about this. So you could argue that even prior to the pandemic, the economy was rolling. Love them, hate them. You hate the orange man. Trump did a lot for the economy. The middle class grew. That's not just white American middle class. That's white Americans, black Americans. Anybody that was middle class grew.
Mm-hmm.
But since 2020, the average wealth of the middle class has dropped 40%.
That's insane.
40%.
So look
So I have 40% less value
so
than I did 2 years.
who does inflation affect? Does it affect
Middle
the person
class.
that's getting welfare?
Nope.
No,
it affects
doesn't.
them. It affects middle class.
Does it affect the person that gets food stamps?
No.
No,
No.
it doesn't. Does it affect the rich man?
Nope.
Nope.
No,
Sure,
because
well,
it doesn't.
okay, but it does,
to
but
some
just not to the
extent, but-
extent
but
because they
he
have so
has
much excess money.
Extension wealth, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect them negatively. But the middle class person, when you go in and your grocery bill weekly used to be $200 for your family of 4, and now it's $350.
I mean,
It changes
everybody
things.
sitting around this table loves to go out to restaurants and eat.
Love it.
It's delicious.
Love it. When I'm delicious, I love the experience of going to a
It's
restaurant.
more about the experience, who you go with,
Yeah.
and
Hey,
just
I love to not
interaction.
cook.
Yeah.
Me and T tight, so I ain't got no choice. I just got to go broke.
I mean,
I just
That's
gotta
how I
go
feel
broke.
too.
you know, I cannot go to now. Granted, a lot of it has to do with my alcohol.
No, like you got to
But
think about
it's
it.
a-
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have to do with your alcohol because before this you could go just fine, and do the normal thing you do at a restaurant.
Well, it's
if
almost,
you want to have a couple beers when you go to a restaurant,
On the side note,
dude, you're a grown
the New
man.
Mexico restaurant here in town, they got beer towers for $25. You can get like 9.
So I just told you how 40%, the middle class lost 40% of their wealth. Most of that's probably in 401k, the stock market, all those things, crypto.
Yeah.
All right.
So look,
then
I cut
today,
my 401k back recently.
see, that's not a bad thought.
Just because, like, why am I putting my money into something that's
Well, look, I'm going to be honest with you guys. 1 year ago, a year and a half ago, I cut mine back, put on guaranteed interest. And I lost money throughout the year 2021. But after that,
You're probably
I'm
fine.
ahead. I know I'm
You
ahead.
are,
I'm
yeah.
30% ahead. But today they announced more increase to the freaking rates. And the damn Dow dropped 500 points. NASDAQ fell 3.4%.
Yep.
Well, that's like I was putting. I don't even remember what the max is. The max like 15% of my check.
That's a
On,
lot.
yeah, onto 401k, right?
Yep.
But here, probably 2 months ago, I was just looking at constant losses. I was like, why am I putting all this money in? So I backed it up to the 5 that my company matches, and I'm riding with that for right now. And you know what?
Well,
I'm actually doing better.
Well,
The reason I talk about this right now, we talked about First Amendment, we talked about Second Amendment. We're going to tell you about the Third Amendment, which nobody ever. We talked about how the middle class, who all 30 of you that listen to our podcast, are probably
Hallelujah.
part of the middle class. Okay, but the reason this is important, you got to get out and vote on Tuesday. Okay, if you hadn't done it, you got to get out and vote on Tuesday. And you got to get out and make sure your vote counts. Donnie's not going to vote. We didn't give him hell about it. That's okay.
What?
But
you suck. No.
you got to vote. Your vote does count, and it matters.
How
And
you
what you
gonna call
vote
me
for. Because you told us last
you
time.
told everybody. You told
us last time you couldn't
everybody.
vote.
So you don't even
And
know.
I'm gonna tell everybody here now. I take one of my kids at least every time I go vote, and I suggest everybody do the same.
Take Holgo.
I can't. He's a kid.
Well, I'm
He can
taking
go.
Mac. It's
Look,
good,
the only-
it's good for them to see.
I remember
the
taking
process.
Sam to vote.
The only thing is Jamie takes kids that Charlie don't know. It's like that's the one time he hangs out with his illegitimate children. He takes them to vote.
This is how you vote.
I'm going to play us out, but before I do, I got to tell you.
What we doing Tuesday?
Come Tuesday night.
Hallelujah.
Tuesday night. We are going live on YouTube. If you can get us up to 1,000 followers, we'll go live on TikTok.
Well,
no
that
promise.
you hadn't.
We're about 400 shy.
Man.
400 shy.
And we're going to do an election night special. And look, it may suck, but we're going to give it a shot, and we're going to see what we come up with. We're going to be with you until Kerry Lake is governor of Arizona.
That's late.
We're gonna be with
Well,
you at
it's fine. Not
6
quite that late.
p.m.
Midnight. We're gonna do midnight, 2 a.m.
Gary doesn't have to work.
I ain't
for
gotta
the man
work.
anymore.
I gotta work for the man. I'll stay up 2 a.m. and I'll have a map, and I'm just start pointing.
So look, go follow us on TikTok. You want to watch us live on TikTok? Follow us on YouTube. All those links are on our website, lifeinthepatio.com.
We need to brush up our website too. We'll make our website look a little better for y'all.
We're going to brush it up. But go listen to us. We need to listen
We
to
improved the website. I'll put a back of my Tahoe. I ride around town with it.
We have a
Need
website.
to.
We have a website.
There you go. See?
There you go. No, go. You can listen to us there, whatever. All right, but
All right. Y'all vote.
go vote. Vote for Life in the Patio. You can do it right.
No
here,
vote,
folks.
no voting.
Hey, go to Marty Ray Project, Blyville. That's a weird follow for what Jamie just said. Go to Marty Ray Project in Blyville.
Do it.
Cause somebody done took from an outlaw. Take my picture down from the courthouse wall. I'm living in the clouds and I ain't gon' fall. Somebody done saved this